You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What is going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, maybe just the Bills these days, with the pals, Nigel, Tom, and Jake. Episode 37 coming at y'all. Don't forget to follow our social medias. You can find us on all of them. You know what they are. We are at the handle Let's Go Buff Pod. Make sure you throw 2 F's on the word buff. And with that, let's say hello to the fellas. Tom, how we doing, buddy?
Boys, I'm good. Nigel, what day of the week is it?
Tom, it is Friday.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here with you on a Friday.
You're such a dickhead. That's just for the 3 of us. Nobody gets to enjoy that but us.
No.
That was rude, and I respect it.
I'm so excited. I'm great. I'm good, guys. I'm so excited to hang. It's a kind of a dreary, just rainy evening, and I'm pumped to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, dude. Jake, what's good, homie?
I'm good too. It's nice to be here on a Friday afternoon. Week's done.
Friday.
Little stressful week, but we're coming off it now. Get to talk about my favorite non-stressful topic, and that's Buffalo sports.
Yeah, dude.
No stress there.
Never any stress. None.
Never causes us any issues whatsoever in any capacity.
No, sir.
Yeah, boys, there's going to be some things that I am sure as hell going to need a beer for. Maybe 2, although I do have a tall boy here, so we'll see what happens. You guys ready to crack a beverage?
Yeah.
Here we go, fellas. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Good.
Let's see. Anybody dying to go first?
Pick me.
Tom, get it.
I have Big Owl beer. This beer is called Arc of Petals, and it's from Foam. Again, another Foam from Burlington, and it's delicious. It's a pale ale. No, IPA. It's an IPA. It's delicious. I've had a couple and this week, and I wanted to save it for the pod.
Nice, dude. Torpedo.
Fantastic.
What are you
I'm sucking down this Complex Patterns, a rainbow can from Threes Brewing down in Brooklyn. It's a food fermented Maibach. So
what was that? I understood 3 of those 4 words.
Fooder. I think it's Fooder. Foodray. Foudre. I think it's Foodray. Okay. Foodray, but it's like a big wooden vat that was popular in France, and it's made from oak. That's the extent of my knowledge on food rays, but they're used for fermenting a lot of things.
Huh.
That's cool.
That sounds fancy as hell, dude. I think
Yeah.
that can is absolutely stunning, dude. You have a gorgeous can, Jake.
I've been told that before. Thank you.
Dude, I've got a 3 Heads beverage here. Not the kind, though. They did a specialty beer for our good pals, the Rochester Nighthawks. So I'm drinking the
heck yeah.
The Nighthawk Hazy IPA. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. It's pretty damn delicious.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's go lacrosse.
How are the Nighthawks doing?
Dude. Bro, I have absolutely no idea. Fun story about the Nighthawks, though. So I used to be major lax, bro. And me and my buddy Jake, shout out Jake Lee. He'll probably never, ever see this or hear this, but was a really, really, really good buddy of mine in our younger days. And we both played lacrosse together. And us and our parents went to the home opener for the Nighthawks one night. And damn it, wouldn't you know it, we both that night through a giveaway won season tickets for the rest of the season. So the rest of that season, Jake and I went to every single game together. It was freaking sick, dude.
That's really fun. Wow. That's awesome.
Like what is that, a 1 in a million chance, dude? It's crazy.
Separately in like 2 different giveaways. You won one set and he won another set.
Yes, it was like it's like 7, 8 people or whatever in the crowd that night. We're gonna win season tickets for the rest of the season, and Jake and I were 2 of the 7 or whatever.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. Super fun. Nighthawks games are a good time. Back when I was there, the announcer was incredibly annoying, but I digress.
Dude, that's happened to me too before, where like I've won 2 separate contests at once. Do you remember this, Tom? My sister and I both called into a radio station, and we both independently won Blink-182 tickets on the same day.
Hell yeah,
crazy.
And I was a lucky beneficiary, so yes, I do remember.
Nice, bro.
Like
up on our very first date.
Banger, dude. Banger.
Yeah, bro. I love it.
Well, hey guys, I want you to know, I'm going to announce this now. I'm very excited to kind of put this out there. I am not declaring for the NFL draft this year.
Damn it, Tom.
So you guys are stuck with me. I will not be entering myself. So don't try and pick me at pick 28. I won't be there.
How selfish can you get?
Next year's my year.
You are unbelievable, dude.
The people asked for it.
I had you going in the first round, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
trying to explain that one to the fan base, eh?
All right, boys. Should we get into some stuff here?
Mm-hmm.
Tom, you had a question you wanted to pose to the boys here.
I had a query. I had a query for you. And this is kind of just fun, a little thought problem. You, Nigel, and you, Jake, get to have a chance to steal a player off of a division rival. Who are you choosing? And you could also choose to go either NHL or NFL on this one. Your choice.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh.
But you can't put the NHL player on the Bills or the NFL player on the Sabres.
Fair enough. Okay. Any player, no stipulations, any player. Does the contract come with them?
Sure, but it has to be in division.
Okay.
I have mine. While you guys are thinking,
you go first.
I had one that is like kind of like, especially because we need a wide receiver. It's like, oh, you should go get Tyreek Hill, but I think the guy's a schmuck and a scumbag. So not Tyreek Hill. I'm going Jets D tackle Quinnen Williams.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to I
want to line up right next to Ed Oliver, Quinnen Williams, and Ed Oliver, and we would win every trench battle you could ever imagine.
Yeah,
and it would be so much fun.
That is probably, I'm like really trying to go through very quickly in my head. Maybe objectively the best pick. I didn't even think of that one. I'm super disappointed in myself. Tom, did you want us to do a hockey and a football, or just one or the other?
I want whatever your brain will do. I don't care. If you have both, Nigel, go do both.
My first thought was football. And I had the exact same thought process, dude. I was like, okay, Tyreek Hill, but he's a piece of shit. So not picking him. I am gonna pick Jalen Waddle though. I think Jalen Waddle would be a really nice addition to this team. With that speed that he's got, dude. I think he could probably be a number one wide receiver in the NFL. I think Jalen Waddle's crazy good. I think his route running is insane. His speed is insane. His compete is nice. I don't know how he is as a run blocker, but as a wide receiver, that boy is nice.
That'd be really fun. Yeah.
I
like it.
And as far as the hockey world goes, dude, this is a tough one because the division is the Atlantic Division in hockey is absolutely huge. I think for me, Jake and Tom, I would go Mitch Marner from the Maple Leafs.
All right.
Yeah. I'm a huge Mitch Marner fan, dude.
What position does he play?
He's a center.
Yeah, I'm curious. What made you choose him?
I think, okay, so like obviously Matthews is the goal scorer there, dude, but I'm just so into these guys. Like we've got a goal scorer in Tage Thompson. Didn't do it so much this year, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and blame his lack of goals on an injury. Because in the last month or so, I think in terms of goal scoring, he has come on. I think he came back from that broken hand. It was like Adrian Peterson coming back from that torn ACL in like 6 months-esque. Like just came back way too soon.
Wow.
And I think he looked like it. So I think we've got a goal scorer. But Mitch Marner's vision, dude, like the way I watch that guy set guys up, dude, is just absolutely unreal. And his stick handling is crazy. he's good for, I mean, I feel like on average, he's good for a minimum point a game in a season. Like I just think he's such a good player, and he's got some good compete to him.
Yeah, I agree. He plays the wing, by the way. He's a right winger.
He is.
Yeah,
okay,
he's usually on the wing for Matthews, setting up Matthews at center.
Okay, word. Okay, so I flipped those two.
But dude, I think that's huge. The one I had was different position. I did choose a center in my head, and I chose Alexander Barkov from Florida Panthers.
Underrated as hell.
Criminally, yeah. He still gets talked a lot. He has a lot of accolades. I mean, I think he was their all-star pick, but he's still an incredible player. He's got an incredible sense of the defensive side and two-way play in the NHL, yeah. And that's something that the Sabres are missing. I think they've displayed that they have the offensive firepower 2 seasons ago. They displayed they have some defensive chops this year. They need to put them together, and there's no better player in my mind to do that from the division than a two-way guy like Alexander Barkov on the top line.
I would be just goddamn elated if Barkov were to become a Sabre, dude. I love that pick.
This is all fantasy land, but I love the question, Tom. This is excellent.
Yeah,
Tom,
that's good.
You crush the fun questions. Your brain works in a great way, man. I love it.
I'm a fun guy. I did find this on Twitter, so I'm not gonna. It was somebody on Twitter. Anybody would know. I apologize if that person is one of our 0 viewers right now. So yeah, that's fine. My runner-up would have been also wide receiver. Would have been Garrett Wilson from the Jets.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him, Josh Allen throwing to Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
He'd be that solution. He'd be the stupid Diggs solution that rolls us right in as my little segue. You like that? That was
very well done, Tommy.
That was very smooth. Yeah.
So you've done this before, probably 36 times before this, I would guess.
So last week, Jake, Dana, and I spent some time just kind of like, honestly, probably like unwrapping the shock from our brains of this Stefon Diggs trade to Houston. None of us thought it was possible. It wasn't a thing that was even like, we thought like, oh man, like the Diggs thing, he's clearly unhappy. It's kind of like, the situation's a little hairy, but it's like, there's no way. I think I was probably even saying on this podcast, there's probably recording of me saying there's no shot that he's traded. And alas, here we are. We're now a week out. Some other news has come out and more context has been provided. But I thought this would be a nice kind of time to go back and like, let's reiterate what happened, hear Nigel's reaction, and then kind of unpack of like, where do we go, right? I mean, all of this was made with decisions in mind, right? Bean does not make decisions lightly, so he clearly has thoughts here, and we want to kind of like maybe make our predictions of where we're going. But Nige, dude, what do you think? Stefon Diggs, dude. Houston Texans.
Okay, so I have 2 takes on this, and I'm going to give my more unpopular one first because I know that if people could crucify me for this one. I have a really hard if Stefon Diggs genuinely did not believe that the way this Bills team was operating right now, that they couldn't get to the next step and he wanted out. I don't necessarily blame a player for like sticking to their guns. If that's what they genuinely feel and they don't think the job can get done and they want out, I have a hard time blaming a guy for making that call for themselves and asking for a trade. And this is unpopular, I recognize. In a way, I have a tough time blaming him for that, okay? Because look at what we've done the last couple of years. We keep getting stuck in the same goddamn fucking position, and it's the same shit every time, where I think we can all look back and recognize that, at least for me, and I've said this on the podcast before, a lot of the issues in these playoff games were coaching, right? Or defensive lapses. Josh Allen and the offense have always, 9 times out of 10, put us in the position to be successful in these playoff games, and it's either been a defensive lapse or a coaching buffoonery that has ruined it for us. Okay, now
was Diggs part of that though? Was he part of the offense being put in a good situation? Because I don't freaking think so.
And that's where so the way all of this was handled was terrible, dude. And like when I'm so sick of this, like, oh, wide receivers are going to be wide receivers. Fucking stop, dude. You are a representation of an organization and a fan base that is paying you an exorbitant amount of money, dude. When somebody asks you about your quarterback, and he was always good about this, you gas that dude up. You don't go on Twitter and fucking tweet cryptic shit that just gives anybody any potential ammunition for speculations. Just stop, dude. Just don't do that. And
He can't
help himself. And I'm just like, everyone's like, oh, wide receivers are divas, blah, blah, blah. Fucking miss me with that shit, dude. I was getting so sick of that. Like, that irritated the absolute hell out of me. Just don't. Just be quiet and go about your business and let everything that you do on the field do all your talking for you. And he couldn't do it. He just had to do stupid little shit to instigate everything. And honestly, dude, it's nothing more than a distraction. So honestly, good riddance. I'm fine with it. Yes, the dead cap this year hurts like a motherfucker, right? We're going to pay him $31 million to go and catch however many touchdown passes from CJ Stroud. And I'm going to put this out here right now, okay? He's going to score 4 touchdowns against us when we play him. It's going to happen. I know it. I know it's going to happen. And it's going to be terrible. And we're going to pay him $31 million to score 4 touchdowns against us. That being said, it frees up like $37 million next year. You can miss me with all the diva shit. I want guys on this team that work their balls off, go about their business, care about one another, and play for the logo on the front and not the name on the back. And Stefon Diggs is, in the last 2 seasons, has not exemplified that. Rant over.
That was the whole thing when Bean and McDermott kind of took over. They wanted guys that wanted to play in Buffalo. They didn't necessarily care about getting the best players. They wanted to get the players that wanted to be part of the solution, not the problem. And he clearly fell out of that in the last year or so. And I think that's a big reason why he's gone. You hit the nail on the head with that, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like, Josh Allen made Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs made Josh Allen. I think it's a symbiotic
two-way street. Yeah,
it's absolutely two-way. But he wouldn't be the wide receiver that he's known as without Josh. So, what world is he living in? What world is he living in that he thinks that he can just? It just drives me crazy. The thing that really gets me. 9 months ago, before the 2023 season, he went on record in an interview saying adamantly, I want to retire a Bill.
Yeah.
He signs 2 years ago a huge 4-year extension, paying him as one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL, playing for a perennial Super Bowl contender with arguably the second best quarterback currently in the NFL. And he was upset.
Yeah,
bro, get out. I'm done. I'm honestly done. He's not. I'm putting some more jerseys up on the wall, and I got Bees back there. I got a Tre'Davious White jersey to put back there and a Jordan Poyer jersey. Diggs is not going up there, at least for a while. It's going to take some time for me to want to put him on the wall because I'm burned. Yes, he was here and he played, and his statistical production was one of the best that the Bills have ever seen. But man, I don't know. The cool thing about the Bills one of my favorite things is that these players we start to really connect with, right? We really start to get and believe in and want to root for. And I think it's partly because Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane tends to prioritize players who want to come to Buffalo and be part of the process, right? I know that's a buzzword, but it does kind of correlate to players being people who wants to be part of the team and be part of the community and be players you want to root for and you believe in and you think can do it. And man, that he immediately took that all out for me. I don't believe in him. I don't believe any word that he ever said that he wanted to be here. I mean, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated for Kids as Josh Allen's best friend 2 years ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That sucks. I was a Sports Illustrated for Kids kid. That was me. I loved those magazines. I read that for 10 years straight. That was me.
Tom, you can't read.
Thank you. Yeah, right. I looked at the pictures, all right? The pictures were cool.
He didn't mention that the 10 years straight was 2014 to 2024.
Correct.
He just
I just ended my subscription.
Just
Sorry.
canceled his subscription.
Tom, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
You walked into that one.
I sure as hell did. But like these are things these are people that kids look up to, and I'm gonna have a kid here soon. I don't want my kid looking up to a person like Stefon Diggs. No, thank you. Josh Allen, every freaking day. I hope my kid does. But Stefon Diggs, no thanks.
Yeah, he's just it's weird, man, because in the NFL, winning is king, right? And we see that all the time with these guys that get accused of, domestic violence and shit and, all that terrible stuff. And they're back on the field 3 weeks later, right? Like we see that winning is king. At some point, somebody's not going to give a shit about character, right? And Stefon Diggs now has run himself out of 2 organizations. I don't know what you can honestly sit back and say about this guy's character in a positive manner. And that's like, if you just want to win and like you're determined to just put the best possible physical players on a field, yeah, Stefon Diggs is great, dude. But if you I don't know a successful team that doesn't have a wildly successful locker room, and character counts in a locker room. And I can't imagine that. And this is a very important thing that we've talked about. Have you guys seen anything from the players?
Not
Stefon Diggs leaving?
Not a single thing.
I saw Daquan Jones go live to talk about it. I didn't go to the live. I didn't sit in on it, but I saw that he went live.
I need to go watch that. I need to go
that
see what he
evening. Outside of that, dude, I didn't see a lick. I saw Cole Beasley tweet and be like, this guy's a dog. He works his ass off. But
which is fine. Like he is. He is. He does work hard, and I would agree. He's a dog. I would agree with that. But man,
I think
he's
his
not a dog.
shit.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't want him. I don't want him anywhere near Buffalo. I expect it's just infuriating.
Didn't Cole Beasley leave on not the best of foots either with some his anti-vaxxer bullshit?
Yeah, exactly. That was all it was.
He was.
If there's no COVID, Cole Beasley maybe retires a bill. There's just that whole thing. He just stuck to his guns, and we're not here to get political, but I can at least respect somebody that, despite all the bantering, it sticks to what they believe in, or not bantering, ridicule. He at least stuck to what he believes in. I don't agree with it, but
he was more upset. I mean, I don't think he believes in. Anyway, we're gonna get into this.
Let's not go down that road.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But he was. I think he was more concerned with what the NFL COVID protocols were doing to the players at the bottom of the roster. He was worried. He felt he had a voice because he was a veteran and he could stick up for that.
Which I respected the hell out of, truthfully.
And I respect that, right? Because he's looking out for the guys who were, because the practice squad guys kind of got the shaft.
Those guys have no voice.
Okay, before we get into any kind of hot sticky subjects, we should move on to more Diggs things, because it also came out this week that in order for this deal to go through, the Houston Texans gave up a 2nd-round pick for Stefon Diggs in, what was it, a 5th and a 6th from us or something like that?
Yes, bullshit.
For essentially a 1-year rental of Stefon Diggs. And the Houston Texans have, I think, done a little bit of revisionist history.
They're trying.
They're trying their hardest. You know what? God bless them. Go for it. Have fun, buddy. That they have essentially nullified the last 3 years of his 4-year contract, meaning that Stefon Diggs is now on a 1-year contract. And they're saying, we want to get the best version of Diggs so he can go out and get the next big deal. Wahoo! Yeah, good luck, guys. He's going to Dallas.
Yeah, he's going to go play with his brother. Houston gave us a 2nd-round pick to have him play for their team for 1 year, and then he's going to retire a Cowboy. So whatever. I mean,
it makes me feel a little bit better about the return. It does. Right? It leaves the balance of the scales to the Bills.
And here's one place that I go very quickly. Have you looked at the current Houston Texans roster? It is filthy. It is so goddamn good. Watch them go and win a Super Bowl this year.
Man, I'd be so upset. But, man, they're young. They're young. Yes, they're good, but they're young.
They're young, but CJ Stroud doesn't play like he's young.
Okay. You think he's going to go? He's the one who's going to get past Patrick Mahomes?
Dude, it would with the weapons that he now has. I mean, in between the running game, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, the tight end situation, dude. I just, it wouldn't shock me. The guy showed, he looked like he'd been in the league for 3 years last year. Crazy.
Sure. So did Justin Herbert.
Playoffs are different. You're right.
So did Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert had the best rookie NFL rookie quarterback season ever, and then he has not looked the same. So I'm not ready to crown him. I'm also cannot wait for Stephon Diggs to be the 4th passing option on that Texans offense.
And
have like 60 fucking targets, 2 touchdowns, and like 30 catches. So have fun, buddy.
He would burn the facility to the ground, dude.
Man, that's what I want. That's all I want now. That's all I want. That is what I am hammering every under on Stephon Diggs for every bet I can make. I will stand my ground. And then when he sucks, I will absolutely wear his jersey on this podcast and just flaunt it.
I respect the hell out of it, Tom. You're almost as petty as I am, which is saying something.
I learned from the best, buddy. I learned from the best.
Really goddamn petty. Yeah, dude. Well, it's a bummer, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm okay. Let's sum it up. Can we sum it up in one sentence or a couple words for each of us?
Oh, the last 20 minutes of ranting hasn't done it.
Yeah, right. And for me, it's a good riddance.
Okay,
that's all it is. Yeah, good riddance. I'm ready to not have that distraction around the team.
I think I agree. I think my sentence would be, I'm excited to see what the next solution is, because I trust in this team and this organization to have a solution in mind. So I'm excited to see. This is going to be a different looking team than we've ever seen under Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, for sure. Jake, do you have any thoughts or anything to add, or should we roll on to the next?
I'll give you. I'll follow up with one word, and that's opportunity. Opportunity to see what Josh Allen can do without Stephon Diggs, because I think Tom said it. Like, they kind of made each other, kind of blossomed both careers a little bit. So this is his opportunity to come out and say, "I don't need this guy. This guy was a diva. I can sling the ball to anyone."
My God, can you imagine he goes out and has a career here without Steph? That would make me so happy.
He's going to, bro. He's going to. Kincaid and Shakir are going to have the freaking best year of their lives.
I was just going to say, it's not just opportunity for 17 either. You got one boy named Khalil Shakir and another boy named Dalton Kincaid who are ready to catch some goddamn targets, dude.
They're sitting at home just rubbing their hands together, licking their chops. Like, okay, this is the time that they can go make like career money for themselves with this season.
Sure.
Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
It's Shakir's going into year 3 or 4?
Three.
Year 3. So he has 2 more years on his rookie deal, and then he's setting himself up, and this is his opportunity to go do it in Kincaid. Yeah, man. Okay. So wow. This is going to be a lot of ranting. We have more ranting to do later, folks. So get another beer.
Y'all better get ready.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. This is a fiery episode. I love it. What do we do next? So does this change our priorities in the draft, Nige?
I definitely think it does. Yeah, I think it skyrockets the need for a wide receiver, because as of right now, objectively, right, and I'm not saying that it isn't Khalil Shakir. We've seen 5th round picks before, or 4th round picks become number 1 wide receivers. That being said, I don't think there is a legit number 1 wide receiver on this team. Now, I do not think that if you stick at pick 28 in the draft, you are going to get the opportunity to draft your number 1 wide receiver, at least not this year. Whoever you draft at 28 is not going to be your number 1 wide receiver this year. You would draft them to be possibly your number 1 wide receiver next year, right? So that begs a huge question here now. If and we've just 2 weeks ago, we were on this podcast talking about how I think we all pretty much universally believe that the best draft philosophy to us is to let the board fall how it's going to. Set yourself up before the draft so that you don't need like an absolute must-have at one position and are able to take the best available player, right?
Don't box yourself in.
Exactly. Losing a Stephon Diggs, I think, pushes the need for wide receiver more towards the top. However, you guys, and I can't stress this enough, I am a complete idiot, right? I'm not. I don't analyze college players full time, right? I do it while I'm on the John and when I have a little bit of downtime, right? And I'm not playing Helldivers with Tom. Yeah, on the John is approaching full time. So here's what I'll say. I've got 4 wide receivers. 3 wide receivers that I think are objectively first-round talents, and they're going to go in the top 10. To me, Brian Thomas Jr. is not, and I say Brian Thomas Jr. because he's like the pretty universal 4th wide receiver for the majority of people. I don't see him as a first-round talent, and if he is, he's late first round. And I know we're picking 28. It's a difficult thing, man, because yes, you need a wide receiver, but all we're hearing about this draft class is how deep the wide receiver class is. Today, I'm not going to say when I did it, but today I did approximately 20 mock NFL drafts.
It was right between period 4 and period 5 of elementary music, just so everybody knows.
See, I thought he was doing it. I thought he was up at 5 a.m. running through some mock drafts.
Oh, no.
That's it, Jake. I was up at 5 a.m. I stretched. I did a quick resistance band trigger session, and then I got on my laptop and was banging out some mock drafts. That's when I did it, 5 a.m. Okay, so boys, there was not a single time of those 20 times where one of these 3 guys did not fall to pick 28. Byron Murphy, defensive tackle, Johnny Newton, defensive tackle, or Cooper DeJean, insane, all-around, crazy athletic, strong, fit, ball hawk secondary player. He's the kind of defensive player where even if you don't need a safety, you go and you draft this guy if he's available at 28. I did not get a single mock draft where one of those 3 did not drop to 28. I'm going to tell you guys right now, one of those 3 guys drops to pick 28, you make that pick. You don't draft A.D. Mitchell or Leggett or Ladd McConkey. You pick one of those guys because they are legitimate high first-round talents, right? You pick the best player available. One of those guys is available at pick 28. They are the best player available. I promise you. So you make that pick. Tom and Jake, thoughts on that?
Can I go, Tom?
Yeah,
because I totally agree. I mean, you don't need to know a lot about the NFL in general to talk about draft strategy, and you don't need to box yourself into a position where you must pick this type of player. You pick the player that is the best at the spot that you've rated them. That's why you do the scouting. That's why you do the pre-draft boards, to know who you're picking is the best player for your team at that position. Wide receiver, like you can find excellent wide receivers in later rounds, and like you said, this is a deep wide receiver class. So maybe there is a better option there in the first round, and then you go and search. Maybe you double down in the later rounds for a wide receiver and go more quantity over quality, and give yourself dart throws for down the line. You never know who comes out of those draft classes. So I totally agree. Yeah, take the best player available, but prioritize getting some wide receiver depth in this draft.
Tom, thoughts?
Man, I agree, and especially I think I'm gonna kind of take the next step for Jake's thought here of, like, you do take the next best player available. Like, that's why you do all this pre-draft work, and particularly when you have a multitude of needs. If we take a quarterback at 28, it's insane. Like, that's stupid, and that is terrible draft strategy. However, at D tackle, D end, wide receiver, safety, those are the positions I would be okay with taking at 28. And the more I keep hearing about it and thinking about it and hearing other great content makers kind of talk about it, I'm getting closer and closer to wanting them to trade back and get 2 second rounders and get 2 players between pick 32 and 60. And maybe there's 2 wide receivers, particularly because Joe Marino, I'm trying to find the tweet and I'm going to post it. I'm going to send it up here. Here it is. Okay, I got it. So I'm going to share my screen. The list of players who are the top paid NFL wide receivers right now. Jake, before I even say this, you're going to if I'm kind of leading you to an answer. Out of the top 10 paid wide receivers, how many of them were picked in the first round, do you think, Jake? before I share the screen?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. I feel like you're leading me somewhere, so I'll say 3.
Okay. Here we go.
Less.
Share screen. I want that one.
This blew my mind. I know exactly what Tom is talking about, and I almost shit my pants.
Top paid wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, round 5. Number 2, Devontae Adams, round 2. Cooper Kupp, round 3. AJ Brown, round 2. DK Metcalf, round 2. Deebo Samuel, round 2. Michael Pittman Jr., round 2. Calvin Ridley, round 1. Pick 26. That's kind of right near 28. Okay, there's one. Terry McLaurin, number 3. And good old Stephon Diggs, round 5. One.
Wow.
A singular player, none of them top 10. And yeah, I mean, you have to account for in the next few years, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, a bunch of these guys are going to go and they're going to get big money. So they will hop this list and be on there.
Sure.
However, there's a bunch that are not. And I think this is where we kind of get into a little bit of an issue though. Cause like these players, yes, they were not top first round picks, but they also took several years to become the alpha wide receivers. I don't remember many of these guys immediately becoming impact elite number 1 wide receivers on their team. So you kind of then have to marry that. We do need a number 1 wide receiver. I just don't think we're getting at 28. So my thought is let's trade down. And if you ask me today what I want to do, I want to trade out of the first round, go get pick 35 and 60 or something like that. And then you have 2 picks in the second round and take 2 shots at wide receiver.
Yeah, for sure. I listened to the Joe Marino episode that I think you're referring to, but he talked about the Green Bay Packers, and I think they're a great example. They don't have a single first round wide receiver invested, but they have an excellent receiving core.
And they're young.
And they're young, but my confounding problem here is that they weren't immediately good. None of those guys were like, oh my gosh, rookie season, boom, they were an elite number 1 wide receiver. And I don't think we can expect that. Yeah, I don't think we can expect that, right? I don't think we should.
No. I don't think you can ever expect a rookie wide receiver. I don't care if it's Marvin Harrison Jr. You probably can't even expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to come out and immediately be your number 1 wide receiver. This is the National Football League. It is not the SEC or the Big Ten, right? Like, these are the elite of the elite. Think about it. These SEC schools, Alabama, right? Alabama is, or at least in the last 100 years when Saban's been the coach, are universally regarded as the best college football team in the country. In any given year, they aren't even in the double digits of the amount of players that were drafted into the NFL, right? So that in and of itself puts it into perspective how elite the NFL is, right? This is not going to be the Big Ten for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't expect him to just be able to step in and be a number 1 wide receiver. I just don't think that's feasible for a rookie. It's too much of a jump from the college game to the professional game. So, yeah.
It's massive. But you don't need that. You don't need to have that like bona fide number 1 stud wide receiver. At least in my very uneducated opinion. There's other ways to generate good offense. You could Dalton Kincaid, year 2, he's going to be relied on a lot more as a pass catcher. James Cook kind of exploded a little bit last year, so hopefully that continues and develops a little bit more. Like, if you have other threats, then that opens up other doors for your maybe not number 1 wide receivers to start catching some balls for you.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's just, you can't put that kind of pressure on a rookie wide receiver to just be the dude right away. It's not feasible. So yeah, and it's especially not feasible at pick 28 in the goddamn NFL draft, because here's the honest to God truth, right? Any given NFL team has at the most, right, 20 first round grades on players. There's 32 picks that have to be made, right? So no matter how you slice it, the teams towards the back end, there's a very little chance that they're legitimately getting a first round prospect. Which is why I say, if one of those 3 guys that I just mentioned, and again, that's Byron Murphy, Johnny Newton, or Cooper DeJean, falls to 28, and I'll piggyback on that by saying, I'm in the camp of stick and pick. I don't want to trade back. I also don't want to trade into the top 10. I think trading into the top 10 is going to cost you borderline all of King Midas's silver, right? And all you're doing realistically is just removing dart throws at the board, right? And we've seen the way this organization drafts. Christian Benford, 6th round pick. We didn't draft Stephon Diggs, but 5th round pick, right? Like these guys that we get in later rounds that
Terrell
are
Bernard, 3rd round pick.
Khalil Shakir, 5th round pick, right? Like we could do this for a minute here. So, I don't want to take away Brandon Beane's darts for a guy who has legitimately played 0 NFL snaps, right? I know Odunze, Neighbors, and Harrison Jr. are regarded as generational wide receivers. I don't want to take away 4 of Brandon Beane's dart throws for a guy that's never played in the NFL. I am firmly in the camp of stick at 28 because I've got a feeling, dude. I don't know. The NFL draft is crazy and unpredictable, and it's the wild freaking goddamn West. I can't shake the idea that I think there's a good chance that either Murphy or Newton fall to 28. I don't think Cooper DeJean will. I think there's a shot that Johnny Newton is there at 28.
And man, imagine what that would do for this defense. We'd have Ed Oliver,
shit,
and another stud like D tackle rookie on a rookie deal with Daquan Jones. Can learn from Daquan, work next to Ed Oliver, and just set us up for forever, right? Like I'm okay. I'm coming around to being okay with it. At first, my initial thought was my monkey brain was like, oh no, we need a wide receiver. We're going to suck. It's going to be terrible. Like Josh Allen's going to do nothing next year without Stephon. And it's like, no, relax. We're good. We're okay. We will figure that out. Mm-hmm. And there's such a high hit rate of wide receivers becoming elite wide receivers outside of the first rounds that I don't feel the absolute necessity that it has to happen. If it does, okay. But if it doesn't, I'm okay with it. I agree with you. I do not want us to move up. I either want to stick and pick or trade down slightly. Trade down 5 picks or something like that, right? Don't trade down huge. Get another day 2 pick, 2nd round, 3rd round pick, or package some of these day 3 picks that we have and move up on day 2 and something like that. But, excuse me. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I can't wait for the draft, dude. I love the NFL draft.
So I'm gonna announce it here. We will be live for the first round of the NFL draft at least, and possibly more, depending on how much fun we have. So come and hang with Nigel and I on the April 25th, Thursday night, for a little draft extravaganza. We will kind of hang out. There's going to be so much excitement. There's lots, not only for the Bills. This is a really exciting NFL draft class between the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and the offensive line. Yep. Like there's lots going on, and there's a lot of needs around the league. So it's going to be really interesting to see who moves where, what's going on. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot to see outside of just Bills things. So will be a good time.
It's been I've been loving us picking in the late first round, dude. Like watching the way the board comes apart and comes together, like by the time they pick there, like I love watching the way it all transpires, dude. I know that's the nerd in me, but like I just think it's so fascinating, bro. Well, so yeah, we'll see what happens. At this point, and I texted my buddy Ryan about this today. I can't remember the last draft that I flip-flopped this much between stick and pick, trade up, stick and pick, trade back. Right now I'm saying stick and pick. Tomorrow morning I could wake up and be like, so help me God, if Odunze's not a Bill, I'm going to freak out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's what I was earlier this week. I was like, let's go trade with the Bears. Let's go get Odunze at 9, trade up, do it, just make the move.
They are the most likely candidate. I
think so. I think them are the Falcons. I think Falcons at 8 or Bears at 9. Oh, okay. We will be talking about this more before draft, so don't worry. All of that will come out. And boys, before I serve you guys up some shark chum,
some spoiled meat.
Yeah. Do you guys have any last thoughts on any of these Bills topics that we've talked about this evening?
I think no. This is the conversation for a later time. Nope.
Okay, so my 2 friends, my 2 buddies, the Buffalo's Sabres have been officially eliminated from the playoff race this past Tuesday after losing to the Stars. Go.
And guaranteed to finish significantly points-wise below where they did last year. They had 91 points at the end of last year. They're at 81 points right now with 2 more cracks at the whip. So max points if they win out would be 85. They're guaranteed to finish 6 points below last year. That's not a small amount given where we expected them to be and where the expectations were for them. Nigel, what do you think?
Do you want me to go now, or do you want to go first, Jake?
No, I want to hear your unfiltered thoughts, man. Would
you like a word in edgewise? Because now's your time.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know.
Get your popcorn, folks.
Everybody can see my little banner here underneath where it says Nige, where it says undoubtedly a better coach than Don Granato. That is something I believe firmly in, and I think I could walk outside and pull a drunk idiot off the street and say that they're a better coach than Don Granato. Okay. The last week or so, I've been feeling like bummed, frustrated, upset. Sabres, 13 years, no playoffs. I don't know what the hell happened between this year and last year. Jake and I have thoughts. Tom and I have had thoughts. We think about it. We talk about it. But it's a massive, incredibly massive disappointment. I almost had a heart attack the other night, or the other morning, when I woke up and I saw Don Granato's presser after the Dallas Stars game. And we'll start there. So Don Granato had the nerve to say that he was proud of the team and that he thought where they were was really great, and that, he's happy that the expectations are high because look at where they've been the last several years. And he said that he wouldn't change anything and that he was so proud of the guys for locking down the defense against the Capitals. And I'm here to remind you that it's fucking game 80. Like, who gives a shit that you're doing that at this point? You're like, you cannot be the head coach of a hockey team that has missed the playoffs for a record-setting 13 years and come out and say that you're fucking happy, dude. Oh my God. What a deranged, complete fucking clown, dude. That made me so mad. It felt like somebody stuck their arm up my asshole and like wrestled around my organs and then just pulled everything out, dude. I was absolutely, I don't even have the words, dude. I was so fucking mad. I just couldn't believe it. Like, dude, where is your spine? Where is your competitiveness? Like, I am someone who is ultra competitive, dude. And just listening to those words come out of the mouth of the guy that is in charge of the hockey team, no fucking wonder these guys were never ready to play a goddamn game. This guy has no balls. He's just a bitch, dude. I have nothing else to say about Don Granato other than he just has no spine, dude. There is no oomph there. The guy's just a wimp. I think he's a great player developer, and that's where he should be, is in player development, and that is it. The guy is not cut out to be the head coach of a hockey team. I don't care what happened last year. I know there were a bunch of guys that had career years, but dude, when your players come out as flat as they have in some of these must-win games recently, that is a direct representation of the coach. And the guys in the locker room will say that it isn't, and they're just trying to cover asses, dude. I'm sorry. I have never had, that's not true because Ralph Kruger takes the cake. I've never had less faith in a coach in my entire life, dude. I just, the lack of fire, like, I just can't fathom it, dude. And this is an emotional game. You have to be fiery. You have to be passionate. If the three of us are on a line in the NHL together and somebody comes and cheap shots me, I expect you to, whether you saw it or not, I expect you to come and punch that guy in the face, because that's the way that hockey is. You play for the guy next to you always, right? And like, there's no fire on this team until game fucking 80. when the buzzer rings and now Tage Thompson wants to start punching guys in the face, and now Rasmus Dahlin wants to start scraps with guys and punch guys back and show some fire, dude, miss me with that shit. I needed to see that 30 games ago, dude. Why is it game 80? Why are we doing it at the end of game 80 when we're eliminated? I don't understand, dude.
His voice. Oh, Nige, you just went into the stratosphere, bro.
I'm completely blown away by it, dude. And it makes me like, where was any of that jam and that passion and that fire? Like, I honestly, dude, and Jake, I think you'll disagree with me on this. 20 games into the season, when we were sitting right around 500 and we were all starting to see that this season wasn't going to be it, that is when that shit should have started to come out, in my opinion. Send a goddamn message. If you're not going to be the same offensive team and you're going to be a 500 mediocre team, at least make teams worry about playing you. I want teams, I don't care what the record is, right? And it should have been better this year. But at one point, I'm sure we were 21-23-3 or something along those lines. At that point, dude, I want in the locker room for somebody to step up and say, you know what, boys? I want everyone on that opposing team's lives to be miserable tonight. And from that game going forward, when people see the Sabres on the schedule, I want them to go, fuck. Like, we might win, but we're going to get our asses kicked physically. Or damn, these guys are gonna play with some serious jam. The corners are gonna be a battle. When we push Zach Benson or Rasmus Dahlin or Tage Thompson, someone's gonna come and fucking say something about it. And they're like, none of it happened until game 80 when literally nothing mattered. Nothing. And I'm just, all you can do is throw your hands in the air and say, what the fuck? I think that's it.
I have a lot of thoughts. I don't disagree with you. I completely agree with you. I think there's a certain style of player that I think you're a lot more bullish on than me. That is like the Ryan Reeves type. But it's to me, it's not about having a player like that. It's about having the mentality in your room to play for the guy next to you that seems to be lost a lot of the time in Buffalo's room. So I completely agree with you. Yeah, I want to see that. I wanted to see that 30, 40, 50, 80 games ago. But it's not been there. I completely agree with you that I think it is coaching. I think, and I want to preface this by saying that the failures of the franchise are not the failures of this coach or these players. It's not necessarily their fault that the team hasn't made the playoffs for the last 13 years, but it is absolutely their fault that they did not make the playoffs this year. That should not be excused, and that is inexcusable. I agree with you. I think Don Granato is a great coach. I think he's an excellent coach, but a player development coach. I don't think he has what it takes to coach a bona fide NHL team into the playoffs. Maybe he does have the chops, but he did not show it this year. And goddamn, he fucking should have. He signed for an extension that kicks in next year. So their hands are a little tied. I don't know if he wasn't signed to that extension, I don't know if he's coming back in the fall. But Terry's already shelled out the oil money to him. So I think that there's a good chance that Don Granato is behind the bench on game 1. With that said, I have a question for you. But the other thing first, too, is it's clear that they're not ready to play. The most recent example of that is against Detroit a week or so ago, where they were still kind of in the race.
They were there. They were right there.
And they're playing against a team that is, 1, a division rival, 2, battling with them like a few points away in the standings. And they came out so flat. They were down 3-0 in the first 10 minutes of the game. It's inexcusable. It's not. It's on the players for sure, but it's on the coach to motivate the players. Like, obviously they're NHL players. They should be getting motivated for a game that they're getting paid thousands to go out and play. But at that point, you see it routinely. It's not clicking. There's something not clicking in the room, and that starts with coaching. To me, you can't fire every player. You can get a voice in the room that's going to kick these guys in the ass and get them fucking prepared to play an NHL game. and it's not a game or two here and there. If it was a game or two here and there, I'd say, okay, the boys had an off day. But it's like every week or two, there's a game where they just come out flat. You expect them to be down a goal, 2, 3 goals in the first period. So anyways, yeah, that's coaching to me. I want to circle back to what I said about, I think there's a very high chance that Don Granato's behind the bench game 1 next season. How many games into the season next season does it take for them to fall on their face early in games, to get down in games early and not stick up for one another, get behind in the standings by game 8, 9 and dig yourself a hole? How many games does it take until we see a coaching change that this team probably needs?
Okay. So if Don Granato is on the bench, is behind the bench game 1, and Jake, I hate it, but I agree with you. I think there's a chance. I think Terry Pegula, if Don Granato's on the bench game 1, Terry Pegula is going to run himself out of town. There is no clearer statement to me as a fan that I'm not going to say don't care, but you're not willing to do whatever it takes to win, then Don Granato still being the coach of this team next year. I know he got the extension. I'm pretty damn sure that there's a chance we're still paying Dan fucking Bilesma some money from being a coach 100 years ago. We are paying so many coaches so much money right now. And I'll be honest, I don't give a shit, because Terry Pegula is a multi-billionaire. And none with a B. None of these coaches are making that much money. He could pay them all out today and not lose a lick of sleep over it. Not even feel the slightest dent in his bank account, right? He could write them all a check to pay them all out right now and would sleep like a baby. But if he chooses not to, there's no clearer sign to me that Terry Pegula is not willing to do whatever it takes to make this Sabres team successful, and he needs to let go of the team. That being said, if Granato's behind the bench next year, who's to say what his leash is? Because Terry has already indicated that he doesn't really care the way that we all want him to. I would like to think that his leash is exceptionally short and should be no longer than 15 games. If we are losing, if we have a losing record, and I don't care if it's, I don't know, whatever. If it's losing by a little bit, I'm having a brain fart and I'm not mathing well. If he has a losing record early into the season, I don't care if it's by 1 game. He's got to get the axe, because the team showed enough last year where we know what they're capable of. It's a good team that is horrendously underachieving. The only team that's underachieving more right now is New Jersey, and that's a separate issue in and of itself. But what did they do? They fired their fucking coach.
Yeah, and they did not make hindsight's 2020. They also ignored their goaltending issue for far too long.
True.
That's an issue in New Jersey. But that's another team. I fully expect them to be back in the playoff hunt next year. That's another team you're battling that you didn't have to battle this year. What's up, Tom? We got.
I got 3 questions. Number 1, how often
Sorry.
How often does a NHL coach get fired mid-season?
Fairly regularly. Don Granato is the 6th longest tenured head coach in the NHL. That's significant. He only got hired a few years ago, 2 years ago, maybe something like that. So yeah, it's often. It's a revolving door. If you're not winning, you're out.
Okay, So then I have more questions. That often. I was just trying to relate to what I know. In the NFL, it happens at least once a season. Out of the 32 teams, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches get the axe mid-season, and regardless of where they are in their contract. So this is me trying to figure out Terry Pegula, because it's really interesting that Terry Pegula is the owner of both the Bills and the Sabres, right? Like, I don't know how many franchises have this kind of situation. It is kind of interesting that he is the owner of both. That I don't know if I have a ton of. I think he lucked his way into Sean McDermott. and Brandon Beane. I really do. So I wonder if will he take what is done in the NFL, and I guess is clearly done in the NHL too. So I didn't know if it was a common denominator. Is it possible? Will he cut bait? I mean, NFL owners will cut bait on a coach that they owe multiple years of many tens of millions of dollars to. They'll cut bait and move on. Is that something that happens in the NHL?
We've done that with our last 4 coaches. We're still paying coaches from like 8 years ago.
Okay.
And there were seven coaches in the NHL that got let go midseason this year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the thought process is here. So if this doesn't happen, I think then we have to look at Terry Pegula, right? This is like at some point, it's like, okay, hello, you got a doofus running the team who at head coach, you got to just cut bait, and he's not doing it.
It's Terry Pegula and it's Kevin Adams too. Kevin Adams has repeatedly stuck up for Don Granato, and to a degree, I agreed with him, and I really do genuinely like what Kevin Adams has done as general manager. But I think it would be a big mark against him if he sticks by the same coaching staff. We'll see. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong, but I have a feeling it's going to be Don Granato as the head coach, and they're going to axe 1 or 2 of the assistants and bring in 2 assistants and make them the scapegoats. And I just think that's not enough to move the needle. But I think that's what's going to happen.
Man. I'm going to leave you with one, Jake. I want to leave you with one thought here. And this is, I'm not exaggerating. When I woke up at 2 a.m. the other night thinking about this, the fact that we let Michael Pekka walk to the Rangers, I can't think of a type of player that I would love to be behind the bench in any capacity, assistant or head. I can't think of a style player that I would like to be behind the Sabres bench right now more than a Michael Pekka, and we let him walk for nothing.
Yeah,
and I'm getting pissed off about it literally right now.
that was a tough guy to lose. Yeah, I think
you want to talk about a two-way player when he played, dude. Like that guy played with some fucking jam.
Yeah,
he was
definitely.
Oh.
The only other kind of, I'll leave this out in the open too. I wonder if they do make a change. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a very short coaching search and they go with someone new who's never coached in the NHL before and is currently in the system. And that's Seth Appert, coaching the Rochester Americans.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's a good coach too, but he's unproven. He's similar to Don Granato. It never really coached in the NHL. It is usually a league that recycles head coaches with good success a lot. Like look at Peter Laviolette, came into the Rangers organization, and they're gonna win. They're in line to win the President's Trophy. Like, I mean, there's a reason some of these guys are recycled. I think it's marked as a bad thing often, but it's not. They're at that position for so many teams for so long for a fucking reason. It's because they get the guys ready to play in the NHL.
Yeah,
Tortorella, Lindy Ruff. I mean, the list goes on. So yeah, I wouldn't love it. But I'd be willing to give it a chance. But again, it's not so much the X's and O's that you coach. It's mentally preparing these guys for 82 grueling games of hockey. Yes. And that's hard to find.
Yeah, I don't think Seth Appert's the answer. If I was going to handpick my coach right now, I'm sprinting to Gerard Gallant's house. He's my guy right now. He's just sitting at home and took that Vegas team in their first season of the Stanley Cup Finals. Like that guy, I'm gunning for that guy, but I digress. That would be a good episode to do at some point, Jake. Potential coaching hire.
Potential coaching. Yeah, we should deep dive on that a little bit. Yeah, we're pretty much out of time today, but
Yep. You don't want to do another hour on coaches right now?
We certainly could. Yeah, we can talk all about Craig Berube being out there.
Boy, I'll get another beer. Another beer. Let's go.
No, get me out of here because now I'm all pissed off.
Yeah. Oh, folks. Hey, this is a fiery episode, right? There's a lot going on. We have fun here. So please tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your dog. We're here. Thank you so much for the bottom of your hearts for spending some time with us. It really would mean a lot and helps us quite a bit if you please share this episode. Give us a like wherever you can on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, all those places. Give us a like, give us a follow, all that good stuff. It honestly does help. We would love to try and get our show out to more people. And that's kind of our goal here as we're progressing through our first year of Podcast Dumb. These are my buddies. That's Jake. My name is Tom. That's Nigel. And you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. Go Bills.
You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres.